Hello, listeners. Hope you're having a beautiful day. So, we are the Unapologetically Unstoppable Women podcast, and I have the pleasure of being here with Lori and Ann. And today we are going to be talking about transformation. So, spring is a time of transformation. You look outside and things are turning from gray and brown to beautiful greens, and trees are budding, and animals who had spent their time, whether it's underground or hiding in a cocoon or something, are starting to emerge. And so it just is a time of transformation. So we are going to be talking about that today. Should be a fun and exciting episode. Can't wait to hear what you think about it. So, yeah, so let's talk about transformation, Lori and Ann.
Love this topic. So, I heard a friend talk about watching a caterpillar and the transformation, they turn into butterflies. But what he was talking about, which was super interesting, and I really want to hear your opinions on this. He was talking about watching the caterpillar as it would go walk in the dirt, and he struggled. He couldn't walk very well. And then he'd get out of the dirt, he'd get on a leaf or a branch, a twig, and he could move a whole lot faster. But he kept jumping off the places where he'd moved faster and kept going back into the dirt. And I guess they sat and watched this caterpillar for a while before somebody finally saved him and put him up in a tree on a branch. I don't know if he knew he needed saving, but he got saved. So as you think about that, how many times do we realize that we're in the dirt and that there's a branch or a leaf just not that far away that we could get on and propel us forward more quickly? So there you go. There's my waxing philosophical today.
It's a great analogy. Great analogy.
And really, like, do we even know that we need help? The little caterpillar didn't even really recognize, from my viewpoint, that he was in trouble. And so, or that he needed help. Because sometimes we're so into our life and what's going on, we get that tunnel vision.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes somebody like a friend or a colleague has to say, look, you need to step back a little bit here. You need to take a look and see what's going on, and just get a whole different perspective. And that can be very life-changing as well, just having a different perspective of, okay, yeah, dirt's not good for me. I should probably climb up the tree instead of just the leaf.
Yeah. Well, okay, I'm going to go really deep here because I just
Uh-oh.
had a thought. And circling back to the episode or the last episode when y'all talked about the thick of the ick, and maybe the caterpillar was so used to struggling in the dirt that that's where they felt the most comfortable. Ooh,
Oh,
I don't
yes.
know.
I
But when
mean,
you're in the
Yes.
thick of the ick, you don't
Yeah.
necessarily know you're in the thick of it.
yeah, and for some people, that's the comfortable spot. They're just
Yeah.
kind of they're used to the struggle, they're used to things being hard, they're used to, bumping up against walls and obstacles. And then whenever a stick or a branch is put out to them and they get on it and they're like, this is easy, they don't know what to do. So they get off and go back in the dirt.
I
Mm-hmm.
was having this conversation with somebody recently, and we were talking about survival mode versus thriving. And people get so used to survival mode. We're not meant to live there. We're not meant to spend,
No.
we have to spend a certain amount of time during different trials in our lives and during different things. But we're not meant to spend very much time in survival mode because it changes our brain, it changes our body, that's when we get sick. That's, so many things happen. We don't make good decisions. But there are times in my life I didn't even realize I was in survival mode. I was so used to being there that I didn't think about it until I got out of it and I went, holy crap, I have just spent a lot of time in a position that my body should not be in.
Yep.
It's so true because, well, and especially if you're raised in a way where you're taught you have to work hard. Nobody's going to hand you anything. It's almost like you're taught to be afraid of the world. And so asking for help might be fearful. And yeah, it's comfortable. I'm comfortable in this, and I don't feel comfortable stepping out of this zone. And what if I'm successful and now people see me, and is it, that may be uncomfortable. Asking for help may be uncomfortable. So we do tend to, hey, look, I'll admit there are mornings I'm like, I don't feel like doing anything today, and I might hang out on the couch, and then I'll be telling myself, Lori, you really need to get off the couch. I'm like, no, I'm comfortable here. I have to force myself to get up off the couch and do something, and then I feel better. But while I'm in that comfort, that place of comfort, even though it's not good for me, it's hard to get out of it sometimes.
Yeah. Yeah. And I'm a firm believer of, for myself, that's why I surround myself with the women who I surround myself with, because I need a good kick in the pants once in a while, because I can be my own worst enemy. I can be my own biggest obstacle. And I need strong women around me to say, what are you doing? What's going on? Because something's not right here. Like, and you need to be doing some things differently, and call me on my crap. And yeah, because there are times when I can easily revert back to old habits, back to old mindsets, back to trauma responses and stuff that I've worked hard over my life to work through. I would like to say that I've completely overcome them. It's still a work in progress, because I do have those moments where I go back, and I got to be like, okay, if I can't do this for myself, I surround myself with women who will be like, listen.
And to your point, I had a really scary incident happen recently where I got home and immediately just was overcome with anxiety and talking about old tools in the toolbox. I wanted to cut myself because that was a tool that used to work. And as I'm sitting there, just I don't even know what caused the panic, but that was the first thing that came to mind is you either pick up a knife or you pick up a phone, but you got to pick up something right now. I picked up a phone. But that was hard to call somebody and go, I'm sitting here thinking about cutting myself, which I haven't done in years and years. But that still was an automatic response to the overwhelming fear that gripped me for, I still don't know why. And I
Hmm.
had to be on the phone for several minutes before I calmed down.
That is
So,
so, yeah, so brave, and we're glad you did call someone, and because like you said, it's a decision. It's not always an easy decision, especially when there's something that you used to do that gave you comfort, and now you're shifting out of that and getting comfort now by calling a friend. So I love that story. I'm so glad that you called a friend.
but
Well,
I mean, that's that transformation. And I don't, I want to be careful. Don't beat yourself up ever for the thoughts you have. You can't control the thoughts you have. Let
right.
them come, acknowledge that you had that thought, and then make your choice. And I had to sit there and go, no, I have worked so hard. I've come so far. I'm not a person that hurts myself anymore.
Yeah,
I have a choice. I can pick up a phone.
yeah,
And that was the transformation that took me years and years to get to is I don't have to do this just because my brain is telling me, hey, remember how fun this used to be? Or, whatever. I had a choice and I could acknowledge, yes, that's a thought. Yes, that's something that used to work. I'm not that person anymore. That's not going to work anymore. And I'm not going to do that.
It's beautiful.
yeah, absolutely.
Mhm.
And, we're not, listeners, we are not professing to say that transformation is easy. I mean, if you've ever watched the metamorphosis of a caterpillar turning into a beautiful butterfly, or a snake, shedding its skin so that it can grow and stuff like that. Like, it takes work. And it's I don't know if caterpillars and snakes feel pain as they're going through this, but sometimes it's painful. And sometimes it brings up things that we would rather not think about, you know, but it's preparing ourselves for those unexpected moments of, I walked in my house and I have no idea why an old feeling automatically consumed me, because that's real. That's life, and that happens. And so going through the transformations and learning the tools and surrounding ourselves with, the people who we can just pick up the phone and call, or whatever, or the tools that work for us. I know Lori's big on meditation and different things that definitely work. So that's part of that transformation. We're not saying that it's easy, but we're saying that something really beautiful happens on the other side of the transformation.
I just this past week I was writing a chapter for my book, and in it I recall a time when I was at work. I was worked for corporate. I was a software engineer. I was the person that was the liaison between the sales rep and the customer, which is very stressful. And, like, my to-do list was all, as a matter of fact, I don't even know why I kept a to-do list, because I could never get to the to-do list. There were so many fires and stuff. And, I would go and go and go, and I traveled a lot and traveled a lot. And one morning at the time, my equipment here at home was better than in the office, and I couldn't get anything done in the office because people were always yakking and I just couldn't concentrate. So I was allowed to work from home about half time. And I sat down at my computer, and when it was time to sign in, I just couldn't do it. I mean, I
Mm,
literally, and to this day, I still get teary-eyed thinking about it. I just sat here and I cried and I cried and I cried and
mm,
I cried. And I had at that time I had been doing yoga and stuff, so I had some tools to help me get out of it. But I did have to call in for a mental health day because there was no way I was getting any work done.
mm.
And but that it was painful, right? It was painful to go through that and to call my boss and admit, I just can't do this today. I can't do it. And but the transformation, like you guys are saying, it was hard, but my life changed that day because I no longer accepted the fact that I have to work 60, 70 hours a week in order to do my job and do it well. And I can say no. And it's better when I say no because someone else can do that. And then I have more time to do what I need to do and do it right. So, yeah, the transformation is hard, and decisions can be difficult. But man, you've got to listen to your body. You've got to listen to yourself.
Yeah, so much. And, as women, we often, and I've talked to more women than not who feel like, I'm the glue that holds everything together. I'm the one who takes care of everyone else, and everything would fall apart if it wasn't for me. And I hear these types of things all the time. And, but who gets left behind is you. And so it's like, okay, there has to be a point in time where you come first. They're just, and taking care of yourself, and allowing yourself to go through a transformation of setting healthy boundaries and learning new tools, because you're sick and tired of being sick and tired, or whatever it is that you happen to be experiencing. And let's face it, we're all experiencing something. Right now, each and every one of you listeners, you're going through something, whether it's something that's directly in your life or someone that you love's life. within your business, something. Um, and so, we have choices on how we can manage that, and learning those to make those transformational choices. Um, like Lori said, and I'll reiterate, yeah, it hurts. It's hard. However, when you come to that realization and you have the moment that Lori said her life changed forever, it's huge when that happens.
And you think back 20 years ago, you couldn't have picked up the phone and said, I need a mental health day. Like
Oh
you
No.
had
no.
to lie that you were sick. You had to make up a story.
Yes.
You
Yep.
So I do like the transformation that we're start seeing in the workplace where it's acceptable to say, I just can't come in today and I'm not going to lie to you about why. Like I just need to take care of me today. And in most cases, hopefully, that's accepted and appreciated that you know what you need.
Yep.
Yes. Yes.
Yep. And last night in group coaching, had a conversation, and one of the women was just like, I struggled to get on the call today because I just wasn't feeling it. I just, she had different things going on in her life. And she said, I just wasn't feeling it. And she's like, but I'm so glad I'm here because it allowed me a release. It allowed me the opportunity to talk about it and to know that I'm not alone. And if that was the only thing that she could get done in her business for yesterday, that's still a win, because she needed like more of a mental health day and just listening to her body. And when sometimes, now if you get stuck in that and you keep going in the dirt, and you're not moving forward, then that's when you definitely need people in your life to say, let me help you. Whether you
Great.
want the help or not, you need the help. Let me put you up on the branch, because you're struggling and you don't have to struggle. And I think so many times we do struggle when we don't have to, where if we would ask for help, if we would pick up the phone, if we would implement a tool that we've learned or learn a new tool, because in from my perspective, struggling is optional. We don't have to stay stuck. There are alternatives and options out there. So, listeners, we'd love to hear what tools you use, and we'd love to learn from you, and teach the other listeners as well as the different tools that you use, because that, like I said, my opinion is that struggling is optional.
And sometimes just stepping away from your computer, going someplace quiet,
Mhm.
preferably in nature if possible, because nature is so healing. Nature is there, is like a warm hug sometimes. And just close your eyes and breathe.
Mhm.
Hey, just try to, because we, it's difficult to push things off, especially when you're stressing about it. But I'm telling you, the way the brain and the body work, if you are so stressed out that you can barely think straight, taking 5 minutes is going to add time to your day, because you're not going to have to be redoing stuff because you're making mistakes or you're so stressed you can't think straight. So
Mhm.
yeah, take a moment, just go outside or go someplace that brings you comfort. If you've got a nice, blanket or something that makes you feel good, whatever it is, just sit there, close your eyes, breathe, lay on your bed and just breathe.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you hear people talk about what's your win. So I'm going to coin a new phrase. What are your butterfly moments? Because that's the
Ooh.
the
Oh,
transformation.
nice.
So we're going to talk about butterfly moments now.
Love it.
I love
Love
the
it.
visual too, because I don't know.
Yes.
I love
Yes.
everything about it. But
Yes.
so for you ladies, what's been a butterfly moment for you recently that you want to share?
So oh, go ahead, Laura. You
No,
go
no,
ahead.
you go, you go.
So last week, I was on vacation, and um, I got to see Anne in person. So that was a huge butterfly moment win for me because we hadn't met in person before. But I was on the beach in Myrtle Beach and it was 47 degrees Fahrenheit. And which for those of you who are in the Celsius realm, that's cold.
Yeah. Yes.
I don't know what the conversion is, but it's cold.
It's like a
And
five, I think. I think
um,
five or something like that. Yeah.
and yesterday, the day I was, one of the days I was there, I put on my bathing suit. The sun was shining, and we had a hotel on the beach, and I walked to the beach, and I was out there in my bathing suit, and I laid in the sand. And I did exactly what Lori said. I closed my eyes and I just listened to all the sounds, the runners running on the beach, the waves lapping in, the birds in the air. Um, the wind was really kicking up. So the wind was blowing, and even the sand hitting my glasses was a sound, and just breathing the salt air. And I released so much. Talk about a transformation. Like, it was a true butterfly moment for me because I had just released a lot of things that I had been holding inside my body. Some tears were streaming down my face. That's a great release and a transformation. And I needed it. I mean, and people were like, "You are crazy. It is 47." And I'm like, "Listen, I need this." And I did it.
There you go. How about you,
Excellent.
Lori?
So I want to say my butterfly moment is when I decided to start working out with my trainer again. When I left corporate and started my business, I didn't have time nor did I have the money to work out with my trainer again. And I sat at my desk way too often. And
Mhm.
I started feeling it. Like I had a hard time. I started having a hard time walking up steps, which is not like me. I mean, I used to walk up 800 steps to supporting the Lung Association, raising money for that. And it was and I'm like, I got to go back. I got to go back and do it. And when I had stopped going, I was to the point where it's like, you kind of do I really want to work out? But now I'm like, I look forward to it. I love it. I feel more energetic. And I do it twice a week. And I love the guy. I mean, he is fantastic. Everybody else that's in the gym, they're fantastic. So it's like my home away from home. But just moving is getting out of my chair is, yeah, butterfly moment.
Yay.
That's
What
a
about
good one. You talk about that a lot, getting outside and moving, and you're very consistent in that.
I'm consistent in talking about it. I'm not
Yeah.
always consistent about
All
doing
right,
it.
fair enough. We'll take that for the win.
Yeah, I'll be honest. I have to think, oh my God, I've been sitting for 2 hours, and that's not healthy. So, yeah.
what's your butterfly moment?
I think it has been the conversations I've had about my children's book. Um, because I'm in a space, I don't have kids at home, I'm not in the education system, I'm not doing any of the things that I talk about the book helping people, the emotional regulation and things like that that the book helps kids with. So I think the first butterfly moment was that I followed the thought and wrote it to begin with. But it's been the conversations. I mean, I had a lady look at me the other day like I was an answer to prayer. She's like, my daughter needs this so much. And I don't know where it's going to go and the impact it's going to have, but there's a lot of butterfly moments as I get to talk to people and watch their faces as they're like, this is so needed. So that's a transformation to just hear one for me to talk about something that I don't have expertise in, but to put myself front and center and be the expert because I'm the author. So it's been a fun.
Beautiful.
Yay.
Beautiful. And I love how you say multiple butterfly moments. You know, that one thing can be multiple butterfly moments.
Mhm.
I love that.
Yes. Yes. And you are reading to children, and the benefits of books with children and being read to, and then kids reading the book. And the nice thing about Anne's book, just as a little plug, uh, is it's very interactive, and kids get to make thoughtful decisions about how they're feeling and what they're thinking and stuff. And then she has an accompanying workbook even to bring that home even further beyond the book. And so yes, Anne's book tour is she's coming to Ohio in the first week of June. So if anyone is gonna, we'll make sure we put some dates and stuff. We will make sure that we notify all of our listeners, because we probably have some listeners who would gladly come and see Anne in action the first week of June whenever she comes, and she's going to be reading to some different children's groups and stuff. So that was
And I will tell you, one
Yes.
butterfly moment is learning to read out loud like this, because you have to show them the pictures. And I'm like, how do I
Oh,
do this? I've never.
it looked like you were holding your underarm. I was like,
And yeah, it's a very awkward position. So I guess I definitely need to practice reading a book where it's faced outward and not inward.
cute. Well, pretty soon you'll have the book memorized and you'll be
There
able
you
to
go. I
yeah,
should already, but I clearly don't.
flip through. And so but so listeners, once again, we would love to hear about some transformational moments in your life, and any tools and strategies or things that you use. We would love to learn from you. We've shared a few of different things that have worked for us, and yeah, we just appreciate you listening in. This has been another fantastic episode, ladies.
I know, I loved it. And if there's anybody that feels like they're, just they haven't had their transformational moment in a while and they're that caterpillar in the dirt, like reach out. Let's talk through that. I mean, any
Yes,
yeah,
one of us or all of us would love to help you if you just feel if you're
100%.
so in the thick of the ick that you can't get out of the dirt, definitely let us know.
100%.
absolutely.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yes, yes, because yes, you deserve to have those butterfly moments in your life,
Yes.
and they're there. They are there,
Yes.
just waiting
Yes.
for you.
Yes. Exactly.
Ah.
Exactly. All right.
So,
Well,
listeners, until next time, Lori, did you want to end with some?
no, I was just going to say, is there anything else?
Yeah. Until next time, listeners, we've got some great up and coming episodes as a little teaser. We've got some guests coming up, which you are going to definitely want to tune in and learn from some of the experts that we have coming up. But yeah, just thanks for hanging out with us and spending time, and we cannot wait to learn from you. So until next time, it's the
Bye.
Unapologetically Unstoppable Women podcast.
Bye.